Ladies and gentlemen, Canucks fans, welcome back to another episode of the What the Nuck podcast, the podcast for Canucks fans. Currently, October 29th, I believe. Vancouver just went 2-0-1 this past week. A lot of good things coming from this club, Gunny. What are your thoughts from what you've seen from the boys so far this week? Well, I guess at the end of this week.
This is a real goddamn team, is all I'll say. Just from watching. That's all I can say. It's not like, yeah, at the beginning I talked about how it's up in the air if we make playoffs because it's still dependent on other teams. LA, what's their goaltending? I don't want to get into other teams, but just watching this team play these goddamn games, this is a playoff team. And this is a team that can do damage in the playoffs. Like, goddamn, they've been doing fucking great this week. Especially that, like, St. Louis game, they just worked them, which obviously is fair. But that New York game, that was two playoff teams going at it.
Mm-hmm. And they were playing it like it was a playoff game. Both teams 5-on-5 weren't giving up basically anything. Special teams did end up playing a big part in that game, and I think
The entire part of that game.
honestly, well, for the Rangers side, yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Vancouver currently that I think they need to really need to buckle down on is they have a pretty lethal power play, and it's been like that for quite a few years now. But man, against the Rangers really clamped up on the penalty kill, and I don't know if Vancouver's just in a funk or they need to try something different. But I think for the most part, the power play still looks good. It's just it seems like the bounces for the power play aren't going the Canucks way.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the first two power plays looked good. We had 5 in total. I think we got 1 goal on it. And then the next 3, like, we were having trouble getting in the zone. We weren't keeping any control, and it looked terrible. So, it could just be a one game thing. They couldn't, get it going. But overall, it was a great game.
Yep.
It was a great game.
Yep.
The 5-on-3s were unfortunate. Like, you can't even blame the PK on that one.
Yeah.
Like, there was the too many men, which I think we've had our arguments about. Like, should have been called, but it got called. And then the Ronick clear up and delay a game.
Yeah.
2 5-on-3s, what can you really do against a lethal power play like the Rangers as well? Not much we could have done there.
Yeah. Kevin BX, I think, said it himself that if you're giving up like a 5-on-3s, you're basically giving up like a guaranteed goal. That's the way it is with how talented everybody is in the NHL. Well, I want to talk more about the Rangers game just because it was the most recent, but I think we need to just circle back a little bit and just a quick go over of the Canucks versus the Predators. We're going to see the rematch on Tuesday, this time in Rogers Arena in Vancouver. But for the most part, that game, I was very happy with what the boys were able to pull off. I think, they against it was UC Saros, I believe, and a 3-2 game, like that's Rick Tocchet hockey, you know? Like I know Vancouver won 8-1 against the Oilers, and I know they beat St. Louis 5-0, but a 3-2 game, that's Rick Tocchet hockey. And Vancouver played sound defensively, something that I did not think a D group that had Tyler Myers on it was honestly capable of doing. What are your especially this past week or so, the play of Tyler Myers and just how overall the defense is like looking, and like from your eye test as a fan of this team and somebody who watches this team religiously, what do you see that's separating this core from what we've had in years past? Do you think it's a personnel thing, or do you think it's more of like a coach thing, like a structure? What are your thoughts on that?
Copping out with the answer, both.
Oh,
There was, and at the end of the day, you could just say it's the structure thing, because if we go all the way back, Alvin and Rutherford, I'm not going to get too much into it, had beef with Bruce and stuff like that. And he said, this isn't our coach. We didn't pick him. Disrespectful. I'm not going to get into it, whatever. But Tocchet was the coach they picked. And then they started picking up players that fit his style, that could do that north-south style. And players that have by far, like, I'm trying to think of which, I think it was the Rangers game. Ronick got a shot that was tipped by Miller. Susie got the goal, and Tyler Myers got the goal. That's 3 defensemen that joined the play and could score. So I'm going to say it's personnel and a structure thing. These players were handpicked for Tocchet to do something with, and he is goddamn doing something with. Their passes are way crisper, like, other than Tyler Myers, like,
Mhm.
'cause he's just there. He's our turtle.
He's
But
stepped it
the
up the last
rest of the
couple of
defense,
games though. Tyler Myers has. That we'll talk about that after, but continue. Go
well,
ahead.
that's where the part, like, where people forget, like, we disrespect him, but he's called the chaos giraffe because sometimes it goes in your favor.
Yeah,
You never know if it's going to.
yeah,
It's as soon as he gets the puck on, like, is he gonna be McDavid or is he gonna be regular old Tyler Myers? His choice.
yeah.
Last game, goddamn, you wanted to be McDavid. Great joining on the rush, just takes the fucking shot like a man, and then right after that, he had a great play where he went honestly, all the way to, like, the left corner boards and, like, went all the way and wrapped around, like, that guy was on fire that game.
He I know we're supposed to be talking about Nashville, but last night I noticed something. He got the puck up the boards. I think it was on a PK. This is before he got the shorthanded one, but he got the puck up the boards and he followed it up. After he put it up the boards, the Rangers keep it in, and Myers keeps going towards the blue line, and the Rangers, I'm assuming, just didn't expect it. And the guy tries to get it down. Myers picks it off, gets the puck out, and I'm like, where the hell was this last week? You know, I think with a guy like Tyler Myers, they were playing him 13 minutes a night now, and I think that's his sweet spot right there. You know,
He's averaged, 16 those last 3.
last three still better than the 20 that he was getting for
Yeah, that's, like,
years.
near bottom to second pair
Yeah,
minutes, which is what people have been saying. I've never agreed with it, honestly, but hey, if it works, it works. If he's better off just running, yeah, 15, 16 minutes a night, you can't blame the guy.
especially against like lesser competition on the other team. Like he's taking on other teams like third lines, fourth lines, and stuff like that. Like he's gonna thrive in that spot. And honestly, like I know it's just 2 games, but things are looking a little more hopeful. Like the way Twitter and everything just erupted when he scored that 2-1 shorthanded goal for Vancouver. Like it was crazy. And honestly, like he's had a rough stretch of play, and he deserved it. He deserved every single bit of it. The whole play, the shot that he took, the fact he shot that and where he shot that on
Yeah.
Shesterkin, I was shocked.
Yeah, that's on a top goalie too. He's not fucking going against Capo Kakinen, he's going against fucking Igor.
Yeah, no. But yeah, the Nashville game, the whole week, Vancouver went 2-0-1. Just a pretty solid week. They're currently sitting at 5-2-1 in the NHL. Um,
Whew.
pretty good, pretty good company that they're staying up there with, and they have a wait for it plus 12 goal differential. Current
Do we have the best goal differential in the league?
last
Is that what it is?
last time I checked, it was the Golden Knights, and they had a plus 13. Yeah,
Okay, so it's
it's
close.
they're yeah, Vancouver's very close. I will say they are currently number one out of all the Canadian teams. So that's always, obviously the beef is always going to be there between all the Canadian teams. They're currently fifth place. I think Toronto's sixth, and then shockingly Montreal seventh. But
Yeah.
Vancouver up to a solid 5-2-1 going into the season. Was that on your bingo card? A 5-2-1 start?
My bingo
Yeah,
card 5, 2, and 1. I knew they would okay, I knew they said they were gonna come out swinging, all that jazz.
yeah,
Did I believe them? No, I did not. I wasn't allowing myself to believe
yeah.
them. I have too many receipts of myself saying that years past, and they said it last year with Bruce and stuff like that. Obviously, that little piece of me was believing. If we had Dryden here, who's no, by the way, not on this pod because he was having technical
Yeah,
difficulties, he definitely would have said he was believing it the full time. Fair enough, because the guy's a full believer, but I wasn't. I thought they would do better. I thought they'd do good. I thought we'd be impressed. There'd be a lot more fighting, but this is above and beyond what I could have believed. You're more of an optimist. So were you expecting this?
I would say I'm like a blindly optimistic. Like first half of the season, this is actually how it's went the last like 4 years. First half of the season, I sit there and I say, "Oh, we're making playoffs. We're making playoffs." There's
Oh
no
yeah.
doubt about it. Second half of the season, I sit there and say, "We're getting first overall. We're getting first overall." Like there's no doubt about it. So I'm always optimistic, and I'll be completely honest, man. Like 5-2-1, especially with the caliber of teams that they were playing, I didn't think that was going to be possible, dude. I would have been okay with like 4-4. You know, That would have been
Yeah, honestly,
more than okay. They were
one of those losses was to the juggernaut Philadelphia Flyers too.
yeah, like they they played Edmonton twice, and then they played Tampa,
Philly.
Florida. Well, I'm just talking about like the teams that people are expecting to like have a good year. It was Tampa, Florida,
Yeah, Philly.
and no.
Stop
Stop.
disrespecting me.
Honestly, okay, Philly might be low key might be a wagon. I'll be honest. Okay, those guys are
Alright, go back to the Canucks. I'm not
no,
talking about Philly. I'll talk about it if you
but
want, but
no, it's they played Edmonton twice, they played Tampa, they played Florida, they played New York. So you're looking at 5 out of your first 8 games against teams that are basically people would say guaranteed to make playoffs, right?
yeah.
And in those games, what did they go? They went 4 and 4 3 1 and 1 against playoff caliber teams. 3-1-1 to start the year off. And I think that is the biggest point that Rick Tocchet and like this new group of Canucks are trying to make. Like, hey, like the whole meet pressure with pressure, it's not just a saying. Like it's something we're gonna do. And they've been doing it.
Yeah, honestly. We've been making fun of structures this whole time. Hey, those structures looking fucking mighty fine.
Dude, it's and even minus the Philadelphia game and like stretches in certain games, but it's ice still like
Yeah.
that's how hockey works, you know. Teams go on just absolute stretches where they have teams hemmed in. So minus the Philadelphia game and like other sections, the teams basic groundwork that they it looked like they were like working on when they all came into this season early, it looks like it's paid off quite a bit.
Yeah, they look like a playoff team. It's not just the stats that back it up. It's not, just, oh wow, they won these games, squeaked past these games, something happened. No, they've looked like a playoff team on the ice. Like, wow, we always end up talking about Myers, but when you talk about that D group, like that Ronick Hughes pair is looking like one of the best pairs, honestly, the best
The
pair in the
best, yeah.
league.
And you know,
So I don't think they've been on for a 5-on-5 goal
no,
yet. Not trying to jinx it or anything, but fucking hell, like, holy like, I was saying we should split them up, but when those 2 are on the ice, no chance any team's getting the puck.
no,
It's amazing, but, yeah, those 2 have been amazing. Like, Roenick, people have said, like, "Oh, yeah, he's not been getting a lot of points," but that's not what we're getting him for.
yeah,
We're getting him for to be an absolute perfect number 2 for Quinn Hughes,
and he
and
is.
he is.
They asked since we're talking about that D pair, they asked like Demko what he thought about the Hronik and Hughes pair, and Demko basically said, "I don't see much of them. They're always on the other end of the ice." And
Guy knows how to make the
yeah,
sound bites.
perfect summary for him. We're talking about this week and everything, and the Hughes Hronik pair's dominance. I don't know if you saw the tweet from Big Head Hockey, but they put out basically the 5v5 expected goals for leaders over the last week. Guess
Oh, yeah.
guess who's number one? It's basically teams.
Quick
It's teams.
quick news.
No, it's teams.
Oh. Oh, as a team, like 5v5
Yeah,
goal
yeah,
expected?
yeah. Expected goals for.
I think we're definitely top 5.
Mhm.
That's all I get. I'm not gonna keep get I think Vegas is obviously up there.
It is Vancouver's number one over the last week.
Oh,
Yeah,
baby.
and by a pretty decent. Vancouver's sitting there at a 65.25 expected goals for this past week. The second place, the Calgary Flames at a 62.52.
Okay, that doesn't help.
Mm,
That doesn't help me believe in those stats, alright?
well, both teams are playing a different style of hockey, though. You know, Vancouver's.
Flames are analytic darlings, they've
Mhm,
always been.
mm,
Every single analytics love the
yeah,
Flames. Actual hockey hates them, but analytics
their
love.
hockey is just boring, and we're not talking about the Flames, but the Vegas Golden Knights are nowhere to be found over the past week in that tier ranking. So it's
Well, they actually have been. Like, they're the opposite of Calgary. Advanced stats hate them.
yeah, that whole team is just honestly, it's Vegas Lotto.
Anomalies.
Yeah, like crazy things happen, especially with the Vegas Golden Knights. But the point I'm trying to make is what the team currently is passing the eye test. And in years past, yeah, they would win games, but the eye test wise, we would sit here and say, "Oh my god, what the heck did I just watch?"
We would say thank God for
Yeah,
Demko.
thank God for Demko. But then,
And he's still playing out of his
oh
mind.
yeah, he's playing out of his mind. But now the team defense is playing to a level where he, if he, and I think for Demko, it's probably this is a nice thing about having like an offensive heavy team is for a guy like Demko, if he lets one in, he doesn't have to like worry too much about it, you know?
Yeah,
So that's nice. And it's nice that the team's defense is finally catching up to the offensive prowess that these guys have showed over the last few years.
I think that's honestly been one of the biggest things is how much our defense is big difference. Those first passes and stuff like that
Mhm.
have been nice, like from Susie as well as well, obviously Roenick and Hughes are the main difference
Yep.
makers, but that whole decor other than, Tyler have done great. They've like been consistent too.
Yep.
Ian Cole, you don't notice him much, which is exactly what we need from him.
Yep. He's had some plays where I'm like, I never like just looking at my TV, never would have thought of that. Never would have thought of you making that play out of everything that you could have done. I think
Yeah, and you go,
no,
you
no,
go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. You go ahead.
I was gonna talk about. Did you see that Frank Corrado tweet where he kind of broke down one of the plays we
Yeah,
did?
the face off play.
Yeah, the face-off play. It's a great play. You can look at Frank Corrado's Twitter to find it. I'm not going to recap it. I just want to talk about last year. Ethan. What the name am I even going for here? Ethan Bear
Mm,
talking about when he first got here from Carolina and how shocked he was, where people didn't know what they were doing.
yeah,
To just that breakdown, that face-off play, like how perfectly everyone has a role
yeah,
and how well it works, and everyone does their job. Everyone does their duty.
yeah.
So that's such a big difference, and that's literally the Talkit difference.
Mhm. And then
He Jack Adams, honestly,
if
at this point,
if
fuck it.
this team continues on the stretch that they're on, like just to play, I think he has to be up there. But I think that's more of a conversation that we come back to in like a month or so when every team's got about more than 8 games under their belt. Um,
Nah, just do it now.
but
Quinn gets the Norris, he gets the Jack. All right,
give
simple.
Petey the Hart, Demko the Vesna, DeSmith and
Yeah.
Demko the Jennings. Just let the Canucks clear out. Um,
Hey, Miller gets the Selkie. All right,
Honestly, at this point,
guy,
imagine if
he's eating those top minutes, man.
he well, we'll go through the other 2 games, especially the Rangers game, because that game, I think everybody's got a lot to say about that game. Quick thing about the whole face-off breakdown by Frankie Corrado. I was yeah, like I watched that and I was like, wow, like I've never seen like it was weird territory because I've never seen somebody give props to a Canucks breakout before. You know,
Yeah.
I'd never seen it,
Oh yeah.
and
Usually it was the breakdown of the play is what happened. Why did the team break down?
yeah,
Now they're just actually breaking down a play, which is
yeah.
nice.
So seeing that, I was like, okay, this team definitely is more committed now, and it led to a great opportunity for Lafferty, and Lafferty just ended up putting it off the post. I think overall, like, there's not much to say. Since we're moving on to that faceoff was part of the Blues game, I believe.
Oh,
Um,
perfect.
let's quickly just go over that. Vancouver ends up winning 5-0. Jordan Bennington was nervous, obviously. So I think coming in,
Guys washed.
yeah, honestly, the guy is chalked like it's bad. But he's having somewhat of a bounce back year as long as he doesn't play the Canucks. I think the Canucks are definitely in his nightmares over what's happened over like the last 4 years. But Vancouver comes in, they're back home, first game back home, and they're playing a team on the second half of their back to back. Going into that game, from like past years, what would you have expected this team to do?
Against St. Louis, dude, honestly, I'll say it right now, St. Louis is a very bad
Yeah.
team, but they would have not been able to perform. They would have at least taken a period off.
Hmm.
They would have not played up. They would have played down to their opponents, or they would have just not been fully on the gas the whole time. But goddamn, were they? I didn't get to see this full game.
Yeah.
I got to see that first period, and I think the third. I think the second was the one St. Louis had their best, but we were working them.
Yeah. It wasn't. It
Like, oof.
was not close at all.
But
Demko obviously always a big part. He gets a shutout, and he did have to make a couple key saves. But besides that, like the guys held the fort together. Sucks to say it. No, it sucks to say it, but man, every time I say it now, it's just I feel like it's a meme. The guys, kept the structure intact. Like it looked
a good meme structure,
yeah,
baby.
it looked good, and especially. this is when I was there's a play, Kuzmenko gets hit by neighbors, and he goes down. He goes down kind of hard, but he gets up and he starts dangling the blues, and he loses the puck. The puck goes back the other way, and Kuzmenko is there breaking up the play, sending the puck back out.
Hey, guy's been putting in the effort.
Every
If we're talking fully about that, like Kuzmenko, like because he's had trouble getting it going offensively, but that Mikheyev coming back has absolutely sparked them.
Yeah.
His favorite Russian that makes him so happy
Mhm.
has finally made this guy. That line looks amazing. Like Miller, Besser, and PDG have been the top line for
Yeah.
me this whole season. And then PD and Kuzmenko they were taking a bit to get going, but as soon as Mikheyev got there, I thought it'd take a little bit of time, but they've looked
Yeah.
amazing since.
No, I agree,
And
man. I think having Mikheyev there, like the guy who just has the jets and isn't afraid to go to the dirty areas, because at the end of the day, PD, as good as he is, he's still a little bit of a like skinnier guy, and going into the boards, he can definitely hold his own. There's no doubt
oh,
about
he
it.
can.
Uh,
He's got that back hit that he
yeah,
does when people are rushing
the
him, and
reverse
like his
hit.
hips, man. He's
Yeah,
got something.
he's got some power. He's got some power to him. But a guy like Kuzmenko, finesse guy, like he probably doesn't want to go into the boards as much as the next guy would. So having a guy like Ilya Mikheyev, who honestly I would have to say Ilya Mikheyev's hands are not that good, but
Oh, the finishing?
the f- the finishing's like I thought.
There's no
Yeah,
finishing.
the finishing. I remember when we signed him, Toronto fans were like, "Well, get ready for like him getting a breakaway game and only finishing the year with like 20 goals." Right?
Yeah, that's been the tongue for him the whole time.
Um, but I think for him, like his role on that, he's the third option to score a goal on that line, right? You're not putting Ilya Mikheyev out there because you need a goal, because Ilya Mikheyev's gonna get you the puck. He's gonna dog for the puck, and he's gonna give it to the guy who's gonna get you the goal, right?
Yeah.
So
They've had a couple of plays that end with him is when Hughes had that really nice hold. I think it was the St. Louis game. No, it wasn't. This was maybe a few games ago. It was before the St. Louis game. Anyways, Hughes gets a really nice one. He passes across the ice to Petey. Petey goes like cross ice in the corner
yeah,
to Kuzmenko, who usually he one tees that, or just he's usually so close to the net, he just tips it in. He throws it across to Mikheyev. They did that twice, both times to Mikheyev, and he was swing and a miss is all I'll
yeah,
say. So
um,
he is coming from a wrist
yeah,
injury, so there's obviously room for improvement there. But yeah, his finishing is still an issue.
yeah. No, but he still complements that line like really
Oh
nicely.
yeah,
Provides speed, everything, all that. We got to talk about. You brought up the PDG Besser Miller line, and
BDG.
I have to say it once again. I'm so wrong about Phil DJ. I was so wrong. The guy is just he can do it all. And Rick Tocchet said it.
Dog.
Rick Tocchet type of guy. He can score goals. He gets in on the forecheck. He's not afraid to fight. And he's got that Italian in him. Every time he scores a goal or one of his teammates scores a goal, have you noticed he fist pumps?
Does he?
Yeah, he fist pumps. He scored against the Blues, and he was doing like double fist pumps, and I was like, dude, this guy's electric. What are your
BDG is my fucking
dude?
boy. I love that
What are
guy.
your thoughts? Like, it's because PD Kuzmenko. That's a great 1-2 you have there, but having a solid line like Miller, Besser, and PDG, what do you think that does for the Canucks offense?
Well, it solidifies the top six. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
We don't have. We've been through decade of line juggling. It's been so much trouble to find that complementary piece for those pairs. It was like Horvat obviously had trouble finding wingers as well. Even when it was Horvat and Pearson, right?
yeah,
They had a rotating cast of the other winger. I know obviously this is only 8 games, but 8 games and the end of last season, PDG has complemented that line amazingly.
yeah,
He is so good at the battles, so good at the forecheck, so complementary to their styles, and he's sneaky. He can get to the spots he needs to get goals. And Besser been putting shots on net. Miller's obviously going to put shots on net, but they both are great passers as well. So he is a perfect compliment. And yeah, honestly, I was joking that he deserves that top six whenever you guys are disrespecting him because I thought he did do great. I didn't expect him to do this great.
yeah.
like solidify himself as that top six option.
I think it's probably nice for him too, having a guy like Take like really believe in him. Like your coach is
Oh
like
yeah,
you'd have to do something really bad for your coach to pull you out. And I think that's the big thing for Di Giuseppe is, he's earned himself a long leash. And
absolutely.
he because he wasn't Boudreaux's guy, and Boudreaux didn't really want him in the lineup. And how I don't know if he was there for the Travis Green days, but Travis Green didn't really want him in the lineup. If he was,
And in those years, he was just getting confused with Guillaume Brisebois. I was always confused those two. I'm like, they're both training camp
yeah,
guys, but not
no,
anymore.
fair. But yeah, it's nice. Like Di Giuseppe, man, he's earned it. He's earned it a lot. He goes in there and he works his ass off. He's got some like sneaky hands, and the guy is just willing to win. Like he wants to win more than anything. And I think that's a perfect complementary piece for a guy like Miller, who all he wants to do is win. Like that's
Yes,
it. Like that's a
Miller's talking light, man.
Miller.
I was watching highlights of Talkit
Oh yeah.
on that post interview they were showing it, and like, dude, that's just Miller.
Would you?
Maybe less fights
Yeah.
because Talkit was a scrapper, but
Would you say he's talking like for Canucks history? Would you say Miller's biggest comparable is Kessler?
oh yeah,
100%.
just honestly, not even worrying about on ice play, which is obviously very similar. It's that goddamn attitude of theirs
Yeah.
that I need to
Yeah.
win. Like that's all I want to do. That kind of attitude, complete comparables.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Miller just has that I don't give a shit attitude, which is so nice to see. There was a play in the game.
When we're winning,
Yeah.
yes, very nice.
Yeah. When we're losing, you hear quite a few F bombs, especially from Millsy. But honestly, a quick recap of the St. Louis game. The game went well. Demko gets a shutout, well deserved for the amount of times he's held the team in, and he lets in one goal because of another defensive breakdown, and he gets a shutout, well deserved. The team looked great, just probably their most complete effort all around. Good game. We move on to
Yeah,
the next night, the Rangers game. We'll talk about the end of it and everything. We've already quickly went over, it was power play filled game, power play frenzy. But there was a play in it with Miller where God, he should have gotten a penalty for it. And I think everybody can agree he should have gotten a penalty for it. But the play right in front of the Rangers net where Lindgren comes into him and Miller just says, fuck off, man. And he
that could have at best been an offsetting.
yeah.
Thease no way
No,
Miller
no, no,
should
no,
get
no.
Miller takes
I'm
on
s
3 of
I'm
them.
saying all yeah, like offsetting. That's what I meant.
Yeah, okay,
But,
fair enough.
Miller kind of, just get off me, and then somebody grabs Miller, and Miller starts just all 3 Rangers at once, that was electric. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Helmet off too, looking like a fucking stud. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, Miller is when we're winning, this guy is everything you need, and it kinda shows, like, when he was losing and he was yelling at, Dalia, like, we were, like, getting upset, but that's how much this guy cares about
yeah,
winning. Like, honestly, in hindsight, I'm switching my opinion on this. Man, this guy just wants to win, and he's doing that in its own game. He's doing everything. He's taking the toughest matchups, he's getting into scraps, and more importantly, he's scoring
yeah.
goals.
Putting
He's doing absolutely everything we need from him.
putting up points. We were talking about it last night, I think I brought it up too. When the puck is on JT Miller's stick, I feel safe. Even in the
Oh, yeah.
years past, if in the defensive zone, JT gets that puck, I'd be like, "Oh," let's set
Do you know what he stopped doing?
what?
Is that backhand pass on the half wall on the to Quinn Hughes on the power play, that would get intercepted 80% of the time. He stopped doing it he did it once, and I would barely count it as what he used to do,
Yeah.
but he's completely gave that up. So I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's just Talkit drilling it into him and him just believing in the system, but he is that is just so nice to see him not do that anymore.
It's gonna be nice though, because he's gonna pull that one back in one of the games, and it's gonna work.
Okay, yeah, because no one expects it
Yeah,
anymore.
they overuse that play quite a bit. Like you could just tell when it was gonna go to Hughes every single time. Like he'd circle in and then he'd fake the shot, but he wouldn't fake the shot to a believable extent. And they could throw it back to Hughes, and the defenseman would get their stick in there, and then the other team would have a breakaway. But you're right, he hasn't done that, and another thing that I've noticed that he hasn't done this year, he hasn't put the puck up the middle unless there's a guy there to retrieve the puck for the Canucks. He
Perfect.
because he used to do that, like, a decent amount, and then he'd give up on the play when it would be turned over, he'd be, "Oh, what can I do now?" But now it's like everything that Miller so far has done this year, like, you can't be mad about it, like, the 8,000,000 more than seems like he's worth it for a guy who's playing, and Quinn Hughes is obviously the captain, right? For a guy
Yep.
who's playing like a captain.
Oh, yeah. Miller's absolutely playing like a leader as well out there.
Yeah,
He's getting into fights for the boys, he's doing everything right. I have no qualms about Miller at all right now. Like, usually there's something you can find in his game that upsets you, but no, this guy is playing 8,000,000 plus by
yeah.
far. Much better than Horvat's 8.5, I'll say that.
Let's not even talk about him. We'll talk about him halfway through November when we gotta do the post
I
Islanders
like how
deep dive.
you already have that marked on your calendar, don't you?
November 14th, I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
um But, I just let's actually hold on. Let's go back to the St. Louis game because it's still about Miller, but, when Höglander goes down, Torrey Krug, like, tackles Höglander to the ice and everything, JT Miller just gets right in there. Miller was on the ice, and he just jumps right into that, and he was ready for all the smoke. So, I think having a guy like Miller like part of this core with Pedersen and Hughes and Demko and Besser and stuff like that, Kuzmenko, like these finesse guys. Everybody's just a bunch of finesse guys, right? And having a guy like JT
True.
Miller who'll either score a goal on you or pound your face in, I think really just brings this whole core together. With
Alright, he's a very good piece for this core, a very unique piece for us, especially because 'cause we've always been a little bit of a soft boys. Not Miller,
yeah,
though.
no, I 100% agree. Um, speaking of, like, guys that are really bringing this core together, I think we need to talk about Casey DeSmith and his start against the Rangers. Do you
Is he part of the core?
No, 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 but guys bringing it together because
Everybody
I
else.
think Demko can go in there and confidently be like, "Okay, like, if I'm not in the net, we're still okay." You know?
Yeah.
That's what Casey DeSmith that's what I'm saying, like, bringing it together, whereas even the team is also like, "Okay, if Demko's not in the net, we're still okay. We have DeSmith, and he's killing it." Right? Do you think DeSmith was the right call against the Rangers? I'll give you my opinion on it after.
Yeah. I think the logic was that St. Louis was a divisional or not divisional, a conference rival. And maybe they just wanted to give DeSmith the better game, see how he does. I don't really know what the logic was. Like, if I'm obviously the coach, I'm going to play Demko against a better team.
Mhm.
But they had their reasonings for it. DeSmith looked amazing in that Rangers game. So we'll get into that more. But yeah, I thought it was. I was fine with the call. Do I agree with the call? No, I think play Demko against a better team, but
Yeah.
it's up to them.
I 100%, I think I'm on your side with that. I'm more than okay with the DeSmith in the net, though, because I think DeSmith, especially with his play I think he's played 2 games now.
Yep.
His play in those previous 2 games, like, I think it's one of those, like, "Hey, man, we're on a back-to-back. Like, we believe in you. We trust you." And DeSmith showed it. Like, he had a pretty, like, great game for the most part. You can't do much on 5 on 3s. You're gonna get burned. The 3 on 1 and
The 2 5-on-3s were nearly impossible, like, Adam Fox, like, literally from the sharpest angle, and then a scramble in front to Mika Zibanejad, and then the OT bullshit, but it was a 2-on-1 where the guy just absolutely claps it. Like, Keandre Miller just fucking
it
bombs
was
it,
a
like, there's not much you're doing on those
it
3.
was a 3 on 1. That I
Okay.
Yeah. But that adds, like, a whole other, like, thing to the breakout, but no, DeSmith I think DeSmith earned that start. Obviously, like you said, I would play Demko against the better team, but I also saw when I saw DeSmith was starting, I was like, "Cool. Okay, I'm excited to see how he plays." And he more than held his own against the Rangers.
He's a capable goalie, capable backup, capable right now he's playing, like, by for that 5v5, expected saves above or whatever for Vancouver. I think we're up there at the top, and it's because of both Demko and DeSmith.
Mhm.
But DeSmith, yes, he is that finally that actual capable NHL backup that we've been waiting years for.
Yep.
And hey, shout out to that trade.
Nope.
Like it was. It was once again the yearly Canucks giveaway where they give away a pick to fix their cap. But hey, they had to do it. As we always say, we always have to do it because they're always up against the cap. But they got, the dominoes, the pieces fit perfectly just so we could fill in a need and get rid of Tanner Pearson, who obviously the gluttony of wingers we have could go over to Montreal. And he's honestly been doing great in
No,
Montreal.
killing it. Yeah, no, shout out to Tanner Pearson. I was happy to see the wicked wrister goal that he scored for his first of the year. That was nice to see. He definitely deserved that. Um,
I picked him up in fantasy. I believed in him. I had to drop him after though. He didn't do anything after
it's
that.
it's Montreal. I know they're 5-2-1, but I think the games are just very different. And I think aren't they currently lacking like a first line center? Well, I guess they have Nick Suzuki.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well,
come on,
was
don't
okay
disrespect
a
Nick
second
Suzuki.
line center then because Kirby Doc is out for the rest of the year.
Dude, they're missing like everything. Everything other than a first line center and a first line winger, they're missing
Goaltending,
it.
defenseman. They're in for a rough, but another high pick. That team is going to be looking pretty solid for the most part. I think we got to give quick props before we quickly go over any other news around the league. Got to give quick props to Hoglander, who has been having an absolutely phenomenal past week for the Canucks, and it seems like Talkett's like lengthening the leash a little bit and letting Hoglander go out there and like do his thing. Do you think?
He has some dirty dangles.
Yeah, he's playing with confidence. And it's super nice to see. Um, My question is now we're to the point when Teddy Bluger comes back,
Yeah.
who do you pull out at that point?
Well, okay, so the options are Hoglander, obviously, because he's the rookie and he's been in the press box enough, or Dryden's favorite, Beauvillier. Beauvillier has not looked bad these past 3 games. Guy's been getting to the net, he's been shooting, he's been doing all that.
Yeah, playing defense.
But
That's one thing.
I just like Hoglander. I just want that guy to stay up there. I want him to keep doing his fun stuff and doing everything. Those are the only 2 I can think of, unless you had a 3rd option there. So I'd rather get rid of Beauvillier because I don't see him honestly having a future on our team. He's really only there for the cap situation. I don't think we'll sign him after this.
Mhm.
But I'd rather get rid of him and get Bluger in there.
Yeah,
But I have a feeling it will be Hoglander, and we're 5-2-1, but we'll still be complaining about something. So it gives us one thing to complain about.
I think quickly on the Bavilier thing. Yeah, he's offensively he's not doing much. I did see him like I've been seeing him make quite a few just absolutely stellar defensive plays, which I didn't expect from him. I didn't think he had that in his game. But I think at the $4 million, I would sit Bavillier. I don't think you can sit Bavillier at that point.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
It's got yeah, so it's got to be a guy like Hoglander or I hate to say it, Dakota Joshua, like one of those two, right? If Hoglander's
Yeah.
getting you points, obviously Joshua brings something to the lineup that I think the forward core minus like JT Miller severely needs. He brings physical presence and like all the tangibles. But yeah, it's got to be Joshua or Hoglander. And I think at the end of the day, regardless of who you're taking out, you're getting an upgrade by putting in Bluger when it comes to
Yep.
those two.
He'll be, I don't know if he'll be stopping the 5-on-3s that we're getting, but he'll definitely upgrade the PK. And it's just nice to have him on the PK just because it'll free up Miller and Pedersen
Mhm.
to not be killing penalties, which is
Hey,
honestly tough on them, but great for them to do it.
those guys are
They
lethal
look
on the
they look
penalty
fucking
kill.
dangerous.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
Like, they always hit each other with those passes, man. It's scary. They rush up that center, and both guys can hit that
Yeah.
pass easily, so
No, I think you're 100% right. It's probably going to be Hoglander. I hope it's not, but at that point, like I said, Teddy Bluger is a guy that you definitely want in your lineup, especially in that 4C spot. Um,
yeah, it's a good problem to have.
yeah, 100%. I can't think of anything else when it comes to Canuck talk. Is there any other topics that you wanted to discuss before we do a quick recap of the
Let me
league?
just rapid fire it. Mark Friedman
Yeah.
has looked great. Little trade looked great. He's been that 6th defenseman for us. Haven't noticed anything too bad about him at all. Like defensively, I don't think he's had any real
Mhm.
problems. He's had some couple good breakout passes I've noticed. nothing insane, but great as a guy that just came in like a week ago and joined the team. Also, fuck the fucking refs. I don't know how that wasn't a trip.
Oh,
Like it was obvious. Dryden was sitting next to me and he called it. I have bad sight. I'll be honest. I need new
yeah.
glasses, so I was having a little trouble. But Dryden called it immediately and started yelling, and the replay obviously, and the ref standing right there. Especially in a game where we've had 2 5-on-3s against us and shit like that, you're gonna swallow the whistle there when it leads to a chance. Fucking
Just
bullshit.
horse shit. It's not for the lack of trying to though. Vancouver had their chances in that overtime. They had a lot of them,
Oh,
and
Kuzmenko, baby.
Igor Shesterkin is just that guy though. Like he buckled down and he kept the Rangers in it. Regarding
He stopped a goal of the
yeah,
year. Like, goddamn.
regarding that missed call, I couldn't believe what I just saw because 9 times out of 10 it gets called, especially in 3 on 3 when the other team gets a break that hard, like a 3 on 1. That could happen in any other day of the week, and it's getting called. And I guarantee that gets called for the rest of the year. And it was probably the
Yeah,
one.
it's just a terrible missed call.
Yeah, it's
No, nothing else really about it.
and it was I think Satir Shaw said it, and he said it sucks that this great game, because at the end of the day, it was a fantastic game, just from a viewer's point. Like the way the two teams were just going at it the whole game, and it was
Yeah,
back
great.
and forth. Great game, and the fact they had to end on that was just brutal.
Yeah. I talked it on to even said same thing. He didn't get mad at the refs. He just said, "Hey, the refs make mistakes. Like if I was a ref, I would be having troubles and stuff like that, keeping everything." It was just a terrible mistake, upsetting for us by far,
Yeah,
but it happens. Nothing to complain about for the team though. They played great.
no, I up.
That
He got 1 point. That's okay with me, man.
Canucks talk's all positive this week,
Yeah,
right? No,
the team's killing it. I was happy to see after the what's it, Keandre Miller overtime winner. I don't know if you saw the video of Pedersen going up to the refs and
oh yeah.
just barking.
I was I had Dryden lip reading for me, right? That
Did
shit.
wait, speaking of barking at refs, when the Rangers scored their second 5-on-3 goal and they panned the camera to Talkett, and Talkett's like looking at the referee, and you can like read his lips, and he just says to the referee, he's like, "You piece of shit." It's-
Yeah,
that shit sent me. It's like true.
simple and to the point.
It's true, true, true. Yeah, no. Um, Great game by the Canucks. Obviously, awful missed call at the end there. But you brush your shoulders off, you move on to the next game. Next game is against the Nashville Predators. Do you have a prediction for that game?
Nashville Predators.
Hmm.
Nashville's so hard to predict because it's like how many minutes is Tommy Novak gonna get? Like if he gets 20, we have no chance. But
Yeah.
if they sit my boy Tommy to 13 minutes, we're gonna smoke him.
Yeah.
All right. Um, who knows with that game? Honestly, Saros is obviously a monster. He can steal you any game, but end of the day, I think we're much much better than the Nashville
Yeah.
Predators. Like I'll 4-1.
4-1. I like that.
Philip Forsberg gets their goal.
I would
If
say
nothing else.
Saros is a monster, but we do have a monster of our own in between the pipes. So
Hey, that's gonna be like we've been. I understand why everyone else in the league would say Soros over Demko just because of last year and stuff like
yeah.
that. But by the end of this year, it'll be much more of a conversation.
No, I agree with that. I'll go 5-2 Vancouver with an empty netter. I'll say that.
Okay,
5-2.
keep a little respect in
Yeah,
Soros
yeah,
there.
5-2 Vancouver empty netter, and I think Vancouver's power play is gonna finally start like cooking. And I'm honestly 5-2 Vancouver empty netter, and I'll say 3 power play goals for the boys.
Holy shit, Nashville! Put your sticks away. What are you doing?
3 for 3 or like
Come back to that. See
or
what
3 for
happens.
yeah, yeah. um we'll quickly recap some news around the league, and I think I was talking to Dridey about it, and awful news coming out of the top league in Britain, I believe it is, with Adam Johnson, unfortunately having a gruesome injury during their game. I believe it was last night, and unfortunately he passed away. So thoughts and prayers are with Adam Johnson Adam Johnson's family, and I think it raises the biggest question now, especially because a lot of people are now asking for it. Should the league mandate neck guards, like neck protectors? And I honestly think,
Yeah, it's
yeah, you know,
yeah, it's player safety at the end of the
mhm,
day. Like, I don't I've never played hockey and stuff like that. It's an absolutely unfortunate incident. Like, it's just heartbreaking to
mhm,
hear. But that is the talk going around with neck guards. They could do it with the visors where they grandfather it in or
yeah,
something. But end of the day, player safety,
yeah.
right?
I saw
That should be the bottom line.
I saw a tweet about the Providence Bruins, and quite a few of their players today came onto the ice and they were wearing neck guards. So I think it's one of those
Yeah.
things that it's a bad look. It's something that honestly probably should have been implemented quite a while ago. If you think about it, just
It's the tough things with these,
yeah,
right? Like, it's not even implemented for goalies,
yeah,
right? Goalies don't even have to wear one. So
it's
it's tough that an incident like this has to happen for it to
yeah,
become mainstream.
huh,
Just terrible.
no, 100%, 100%. I agree. Um, yeah, no, awful, awful news, and like we said, prayers just with everybody in Adam Johnson's family. Can't imagine what you're going through. It's a fast game, and it's just
Yeah.
heartbreaking to see what happened. Um, I'm trying to think of other news from around the league. Heritage Classic, that's a big thing. They gave a moment of silence to Adam Johnson, which respectfully, they should have. I think Vancouver will probably be doing the same thing on Tuesday, because that's how hockey works. At the end of the day, it's just one big family. It doesn't matter what continent you're playing on or anything. Everybody's playing the same game. Everybody's playing the game that they love. But yeah, there was a moment of silence held for Adam Johnson today, and that was super nice to see. Besides that, I think what the Oilers walked away 5-2, 5-2 today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was a 5-2 win.
now my question to you is, do you think Connor McDavid is 100%, or do you think they went to McDavid or McDavid went to them and said, "Hey, like if we lose this game, we're chalked for the rest of the year"?
I'm a biased McDavid fantasy owner, so it's tough for me to say. He didn't do enough, honestly. He got 1 assist, come on. Um, I don't think they'd be rushing him. I just don't. Just with his past injury history, like, I honestly he's actually had a pretty good streak going on where he hasn't missed a game in, like, over a season, but I don't think they even take a slight risk if he didn't. I don't think he plays even slightly injured. I know players do that a lot, but, if there's anything that could have made it worse or he wasn't fully 100%, I don't think they would have played him.
Do you think Mc-
So I
do you,
wouldn't buy
do you
that.
think McDavid rushed himself? Because at the end of the day, they're going to make Connor a tier call. Like,
Uh, I don't think they'd give him that much of a call. Like, they only give it really a call if it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to make it worse,
hmm
like the Mikheyev thing.
hmm
If this isn't going to make it worse, you're just going to wait for the injury and just see if you can do stuff. Honestly, I don't know enough medical stuff to really say what their logic is, but I think they give the players the choice mainly when it's not going to make the injury worse, and
yeah,
they're not going to do something that's going to even have a slight chance of making McDavid's injury worse.
okay.
You guys got to stay in pot fucking 150 for me.
I'll uh, I'll second that. If we're talking about fantasy, let's talk about some upset fantasy owners and guys that drafted Shane Pinto this year.
Yeah, what the hell? People actually draft him?
Probably he was pretty electric for the Sens last year, I'd say. Um, for anybody who's living under a rock, Shane Pinto got suspended for 41 games for, what was it, illegal gambling or not following gambling protocols or whatever it was.
I don't know why we have so many goddamn reporters in this league tweeting stuff out, and I still don't know the full details of what he got caught for.
Okay, I actually do. I well,
Well,
allegedly,
here it is. You're
I'm
our
a yeah,
insider.
I'm Gary Bettman's illegitimate son, and he left his laptop open. So,
Alright.
um,
What'd you read?
I didn't read it. I was actually listening to the Steve Dangle podcast last night, and basically what had happened was, oh, first and foremost, have to say the suspension started when the Ottawa Senators season started, and since he can still, once the suspension is over, even though he's an RFA, he can actually sign a contract with the Senators and play this year because he's not. I don't know the advanced stuff about it, but he's not that class of RFA where he can't be offer sheeted, right? So since
Oh,
he
really?
can't be offer sheeted because he's not at that point in his RFA status that he can only basically sign with the Senators. It's been like that all summer. So he doesn't have that December 1st deadline to actually sign a contract.
I think he does have it, but they waived it because of the suspension.
I-
Because obviously they're not gonna sign him
Well,
until then. Whatever, either way, he can play this season
yeah,
after
yeah,
41 Ottawa Senator
yeah.
games.
But I don't think that actually has anything to do with this. Anyways, whatever. I think January 2nd or some shit is when he can come back, or January something. But apparently, what had happened is Shane Pinto, like, he didn't bet on hockey. There was no betting on hockey going on or anything like that. He basically, somebody else had access to his account and was placing bets on his account instead of like himself. So that's like a big no-no, especially when you sign up for like any of these gambling
Yeah,
companies
it's
and
a
stuff.
betting no-no. That's how is that an NHL no-no?
It's an NHL's policy. And I was watching the Steve Dangle podcast, and they basically, what they were saying was the NHL's rules on gambling are so vague that so the NHL can basically do whatever they want if you break them. And we saw it happen.
I don't do you know what? I'm gonna just make random stuff up. He didn't appeal it.
Hmm.
Okay, 41 games is ridiculous. Rafi Torres was straight up spearing people, and like he was not getting that long of a suspension. So a 41 game suspension for someone else gambling on his account
Hmm.
just doesn't it doesn't I don't buy it.
Well,
I think that's maybe what they're saying to save face. I could see the NHL being like, "Hey, yeah, someone was on his account." I still believe he must have been doing some random thing where he had some advantage. Hey, we have Rick talking. He used to
mhm.
gamble on his own games, so
No, but
you
you
know,
also got to admit the NHL, when it comes to this stuff, anything that doesn't involve the Blackhawks scandal, they're really strict on this stuff. Like, they have gambling policies and everything like that. So basically, when I was watching the Steve Dangle podcast, like, this isn't like obviously like how it went down, but like he would be like, the where the betting sites got like suspicious of it is like Pinto would be, I think this is the analogy that they use. Pinto would be playing in a game in like Toronto or something, right? And then there'd be
yeah.
a bet placed from his account in like New York. And they'd be like, well,
Okay.
how the hell is he placing bets when he's in Toronto? And then that's how they eventually caught on to it.
But the bet wasn't on an NHL
It
thing?
wasn't on an NHL thing, no. If it was an NHL
I
thing,
just can't I can't see it being 41
no, but
games for not being an
I
issue.
completely agree. I think the 41 games is little really ridiculous, and I think the NHL, the Steve Dangle boys were talking about how the NHLPA isn't even appealing it. Like, everybody's just signing off
That's what surprised.
NDA.
That's what I don't believe.
And then they actually thought of something that was, I honestly could see happening with Gary Bettman, because Gary Bettman is quite power hungry and stuff like that. Basically, they suggested the idea that the NHL is obviously has Gary Bettman and those guys. They rule with like an ironclad fist. Like, don't go outside the rules, and you'd be fine. I think,
Yeah, for certain
yeah,
things.
I think what the Dangle guys were saying was like, the chance that Gary Bettman guys were dangling Olympics in front of NHLPA's face, like, hey, because apparently the NHLPA's been killing it, you know, they have been killing it with the pride tape and just all that stuff. Like, they got a significant lead on the NHL currently with getting the NHL to
Yeah.
look silly. I think what the Dango guys are saying, and I don't know, and like, this is just me once again, like, what the,
S
like, saying,
guessing?
not guessing, but like hearing what they said and being like, that's honestly very plausible. But basically, they're saying like, hey, like, this is the suspension. We're gonna make sure nobody else does it. I think that's a big thing that they were going for too. Was nobody else. They don't want anybody else to do it. That's why they came down so hard on him. We're gonna make sure nobody else does it. And if you decide to appeal this, then we're not gonna agree to Olympics. Because that's a big thing NHL.
Shane Pinto drops ruins the league.
Well, I think that's why they're just like, yeah, no, we're not gonna appeal it, because everybody wants to see NHL players in the Olympics. But once again, this is all speculation from the Dangle guys, and I just think it's a plausible explanation because at the end of the day, like you said, man, 41 games is wild, wild.
You know, it's not speculation and insane because, like, honestly, the NHL has not given a clear explanation of what the like. This is all just us talking about it. But something that has come out from this is apparently when an NHL player makes an account, the betting company tells the NHL
Mhm,
like immediately. Like makes sense to me, but apparently a lot of players didn't know that.
mhm.
And apparently they're told it, but like who pays attention during like the the lengthy meetings and stuff like
Yeah,
that. I can imagine an NHL player doesn't care, but makes sense that he got caught like that if they like literally linked to his account and everything. I thought like I'd still want to speculate that like he must have like they just see like, yeah, it makes sense that he's playing a game in Toronto and there's a bet in New York. There's something fishy going
yeah,
on. But to be 41 games, like, it would have to be something like, someone just put 10 grand on Pinto to get 2 shots or something, like,
yeah,
that would make sense to me at least. But then maybe that'd be an even longer suspension,
yeah.
but, yeah, there's no point in speculating. The main thing is NHL just needs to be more clear with it. I don't know why they're,
There's a lot of gray
like
area in all their rules. It's
yeah.
not good.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of but, like, this is the time to set the precedent, like, "Oh, this is what happened. This is why we're spending in 41 games." But then it's just they're just not clear,
Yeah,
like, they literally just made a rule that you can't have pride tape, and as soon as a player had pride tape, they were like, "Yeah, never mind, you're allowed to."
that's
Like, it doesn't seem like they have, like, any like, it's just Gary Bettman juggling whatever he
just doing.
wants and just telling, "Oh, this sticks, this doesn't,"
Yeah,
so
no, it's Gary Bettman doing whatever he pleases, man. That's how the league currently works. But yeah, no, sucks for Shane Pinto. I think he's gonna lose out. I think his
oh, he's losing on, like, 2 mil or something.
yeah, something
Like, he was
wild.
wanting, like, 2.5, and now he's gonna probably sign league minimum.
Yeah.
Gonna affect his next contracts obviously as well.
My hold on, my favorite tweet. So the Shane Pinto like 41 game suspension comes out, and then my the next tweet, 'cause this is like Canucks Twitter will always be goaded, and it's like a screenshot of somebody signing up for like Bet365, and it says Mr. Tyler Myers. And that shit just set me. Oh my god, I love Canucks Twitter, bro.
I just got that.
It's like Mr. Tyler Myers location. I don't even know where the location was. That shit was
Well, he lives in Kelowna, so he's right in our backyard,
yeah.
so disrespectful.
Canucks Twitter is never ever.
By the way, if you guys suspend us, they'll think they count against the cap, don't they?
Which ones?
If a player gets suspended, they still count against the cap. Obviously,
Yeah,
he doesn't because he did not even
yeah.
sign, but so don't do that for Tyler Myers. On top of it just being a shitty thing to do.
I think people just want him off the ice more than anything. Fuck the
I
cap hit at
guess
this point. No, I think he's playing great, and hopefully,
love how much we talk about this guy.
hopefully he continues to bounce back for the boys. But um, I'm thinking of league around or news around the league. Not much else I can think about. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Jeez.
No, we're reaching the hour
Yep.
mark.
So that's definitely enough. So well, thank you guys so much for listening. Sucks we couldn't have Dreddy here. Obviously, he was having some technical issues. His Wi-Fi is just absolute garbage right now, but good chance.
He's moving and stuff.
Yeah,
He'll have it
yeah,
figured
good
out.
chance he'll be here next week or for the next episode. So I have to take over the outro now, which is kind of nervous. I see why Dreddy is always like tweaking out about it.
Always the threat of me fucking it up as well looming, right?
So yeah, no, thank you guys so much for listening. You guys can check out our Twitter at What the Nuck Pod, our TikTok at What the Nuck, and we're also at What the Nuck on YouTube. And we officially have an Instagram. Have we posted? I think we posted like one photo, but it's at What the Nuck Pod. And yeah, we're gonna really kick this thing off, especially in 2024. We're gonna have a great year, and leading up to Christmas, we want to do some stuff more with the Canucks community and just overall have better engagement. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.